This is Gilbert Andrew Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, talk, inspiration, and prayer. Listen to my show every Monday from 11 to 12 on KWWJ 1360 AM, KYOK 1140 AM, KCOH at 1230 KCOH.com, Sankeet Radio at 95.1 FM, 1460 AM, and Latino Sports, KEYH 850 AM. Call in at 832-570-8075 and follow me on social media. See you then. Me, Gilbert Garcia, with another tip from me. Talk, inspiration, and prayer. And, of course, I have a guest that will be here momentarily, named as Dwight Jefferson. You'll love him. And, of course, right now, I have Ruby Dang. Ruby, welcome to the show, as always. She's always my sidekick. Just like, remember Johnny Carson had Ed McMahon?
I do
and
remember.
Ed McMahon was paid just to laugh. And there he was, and he had that laugh, like, and he would pay, that was his role, to laugh.
That's right.
And with David Letterman, you had the guy, what was his name? Paul Schaefer. And, of course, he was there just to, like, look cool with his glasses. First of all, before Judge Jefferson gets here, we're going to talk a lot about Metro. I wanted to ask you, Ruby, what about those Texans?
Wow.
Can you believe it? I mean, Houston, Texas, I think the Texans are kind of in the driver's seat now.
Right.
Because they're, number one, they're on a roll. Number two, they have a great defense. Number three, they're 7-5, and they may win out.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I think they're on a lot of momentum.
Now I'm going to have to say,
Go.
because you said that about the Texans, I have to do this, Houstonians. Okay, how about those Cowboys?
I can't say too loud, but, of course, I grew up a Cowboy fan.
Yes, there is a rival here, not only on the trading desk, but as it relates to football. So I have to give you a shout out to your boys.
There you go. You know what's really a great, and of course this isn't sports talk, but it seems like it. The other great rivalry is Texas A&M UT.
Oh wow, that was a tough one.
And I saw where people have a flag.
Yes.
Where it's got the UT and it's got the A&M, and it says something like "House Divided."
That is our home.
Is
That's
that your,
the dang home.
Do y'all have that at your house?
We have a house divided. Yes.
Oh my God! And go through your whole divided, because if I'm not mistaken, your kids are both A&M,
yes,
and your husband is UT. Is that right?
Yes. So, and I'm U of H, so go Cougars, right? Go Cougs, right? But yeah, there is a huge rivalry at the Dang household, because my husband, again, undergrad and med school, UT. And both kiddos, now they wanted to attend UT, but it wasn't in the cards for them. But they have been welcomed by the A&M community. It was the right move for them, and they have A&M spirit. So it was so exciting to see the two of them. My husband was watching TV, the game in one bedroom, and the kids were in the other.
No, they were separate beds.
It was literally a house divided.
They couldn't even be in the same bedroom?
They couldn't be in the same bedroom.
And you were going back and forth?
Yes, I was.
Oh, my God. Well, my son and his girlfriend, Daniel Thomas and his girlfriend, Juliana, not my Juliana, his Juliana.
Right.
They went to the game, and, of course, he is an A&M, and he had his jersey, and she went to UT.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
That's a tough
and
one. Yeah.
Daniel's, or his cousin, or my niece, went to UT, or goes to UT, and she had her jersey on. So there was a lot of that. And, it's funny because they hadn't played each other in 13 years or something crazy.
Right.
And I remember reading that one legislator wanted to mandate law that they had to play against each other, because how silly, they're both in the same state, and there's all this great rivalry, and then they weren't, because of politics and what group they're in, et cetera, they weren't playing.
Right.
But now they're back.
They're back.
And what a game!
What a game! Yeah.
Because the game itself was pretty slow. And then it picked up at the end. But what's interesting is, of all the teams to knock out A&M.
Yep.
So now A&M, I saw drop from, I think they were number 4 on the road to the college football playoffs and the SEC championship. And now they dropped to, I think, number 7 or 8.
Wow. Yeah, that's tough.
They're not going to make the playoffs. and they're not going to make the SEC championship or anything.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine that being knocked out by
after
UT?
having a great season.
Yes.
Yeah, that's tough.
Well, we're going to talk all about Metro with my guest who will be here shortly. But before he does, I got someone that's here on the line already. Is it Dominic? Dominic, are you there?
Yes, I had the phone on me. Sorry about that, Gil.
That's okay.
Yes.
What do you got for it? We're going to talk about Metro with Judge Jefferson, who's on the board with me. And I'm probably going to have to do another episode for Metro. But at the end of the day, Metro really makes this community work. And if you look at Metro, things like downtown, almost 40% of the people that work downtown take some type of Metro service. And if you look at the medical center, it's about 35%. Mm-hmm. And for all those Metro haters that have been putting up roadblocks on Metro since its founding, it's amazing that Metro's been able to do as good as it does, given all the obstacles they have faced and they continue to face all the time. And I believe they're now up to almost 4,000 employees. Yep. And that's full-time employees versus they have some that are contract and things of that nature. And I think they do a heck of a job making this city move and work. But Dominic, what do you got? Because I know you are a 2 or 3 generation user. Am I right?
Okay. I am a 3rd generation. I'm a rare bird here. I'm a 3rd generation, not just with transit, but with rail transit. My grandfather rode Houston Electric. My parents rode Houston Electric.
Wow.
My mom and I rode Metro Rail. So I'm 3rd generation rail commuter right in Houston. So I'm probably one of the rarest birds in the area. But part of the problem with Metro is the laws that founded it. And we're seeing it with the situation with Bob Lene. We're seeing this with Mayor Whitmire. And the thing is, when Metro was created, it was created in such a way in 3 parts. Number one, the city of Houston had to enter, or it would be no go. Then it was then the county precincts, each precinct could go in or out. And then the multi-cities, each multi-city could go in and out. So from the beginning, Metro was skewed heavily toward the city of Houston. And I think the idea was, part of the thing was to get Hugh-Tran off the books of the city of Houston. That was one of the things. The thing is, though, with our strong mayor system that we have, and there's no checks and balances that he has for appointments. For instance,
but let's stick on Metro. Let's stick there. I don't want to get into other issues about the city. Let's stick with Metro.
My thing is, part of the problem is the way City Hall operates, and I think that is something that needs to be addressed on a separate operation. Do we need a new city charter?
Well, let's go into that.
But getting back to Metro.
Yeah, let's hold on.
I think the thing is there is in the area. There are a lot of people who think that if you don't drive, there's something wrong with you. And I've had people tell me that to my person. You got to have this car thing to go around. But there are people that need poor people, and you're going to have this situation because of inflation, cars going up, insurance going up, and stuff like that. People getting older, they cannot drive. I don't drive anymore because of my situation. And at the end of the day, I think people don't realize something. And this gets back to, I think Metro has done a good job considering everything that's been slammed against it. I think the thing is, though, I don't think people realize what would happen if there was a study once, if our HOV lanes, if they were not in operation right now, TxDOT would have to build 20 mile, or I should say the HOV lanes, each together carried the traffic load of 20 freeway main lanes. We don't have the room. We don't have the money for that.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you there, Dominic, because I want to go back because I think the citizens need a little bit of background, first of all. So the Metro was first on the ballot in 1978. And that's essentially the origin of Metro. And this is one of a copy. I don't have the original document, but this is the copy, if you could zoom in on this, Mr. Producer, of the original formation of Metro. And all the information in here about all the things it would do. And they've done a pretty good job. And so this is the original. If you'll notice, it says Houston Metropolitan Transit Authority, Metropolitan Transit Authority of Harris County. All was right here. And so for people who say, well, gee, when did this happen? It was all here, and it was approved by the residents in July of 1978. We can see it right there, 1978, July. Hopefully everybody can see that. Mm-hmm. And it really laid out a plan. And no other group has to go before the voters all the time. If you think about the Sports Authority, the Housing Authority, the port, they're not going to the voters all the time, but Metro sure is all the time.
Well, the turds.
Hold on, let me just go through it all. And then you go in. So what I want to go through is when they first set it up, there were some cities that did not vote to be part of the Metro system. But there were many cities that voted and opted in. And they were cities, there are 13 multi-cities. And then there's Harris County, and then there's Houston. And the multi-cities are cities like Humble, Missouri City, Katy, West University. I'm trying to think about all of them. Bel Air. There are 13 multi-cities. And so the reason I believe that they set it up so Houston-centric is, number one, the inner core is Houston, and you cannot have transit work unless you're connecting with density. And the inner core of Houston is where the density really starts, and that's really Main Street, et cetera, which of course has both the stadiums at the south, it has UHD at the north, and then it has, of course, the zoo, et cetera, and then, of course, it has the medical center. They're all right there in the center spine of the city. And so when you continue, so how it was set up is the city of Houston had 5 and has 5 appointments. The county has 2, and the multi-cities have 2. I think the other reason for the Houston-centric is most of the sales tax, which is what the primary funding of Metro comes from, it's primarily the sales tax, really comes from Houston. Of course, Houston gets, Metro gets the fare box revenue, and of course they get other things like government grants, et cetera. But in essence, it's really the sales tax. And that 1% sales tax was voted on by those 13 cities, the county, Houston, to opt in to really prepare for what was growing, very fast growing region. And that was the whole impetus for Metro. So now you go.
Okay, and Gil, believe it or not, that pamphlet you had, I have to pat myself on the back. I'm the one that got that packet for you. I appreciate you using it. And I was on that committee that formed that report. And a lot of things, like for instance, that Metro has done, is, why don't you go to the voters like the New Bus Network? New Bus Network is in that document. Things like Community Connector, that's in that document. The Uptown BRT line, it's elevated. Look at the cover of that pamphlet. There's a lot of things in that thing. If Metro would have done what was in that packet, we would not be in the situation we're in now.
Well, hold on. It's not if Metro would have done. If the city of Houston and mainly the city of Houston, would have let Metro keep its full allocation of revenue, Metro would have done everything it was supposed to do. But as we all know, that Mayor Bob Lanier, right there in 1992 or so, redirected. Essentially, he took, which was roughly $500 million that was set aside for rail, and took it out to pay for police and essentially make up the difference in the Houston budget. And then he permanently handicapped Metro, because Metro was supposed to get 1 penny, and they changed it to 0.75. So they took 1/4 of all of Metro's revenue permanently until, of course, the referendums that happened recently, and I'll go through that in a moment. So that's the only issue I take with you, Dominic, when you look at people who say, well, how come we don't have a subway? Or how come we don't have above grade? Well, it's real simple, because the founding fathers, whoever they are, decided to take money away from Metro, and it all goes back to wanting the inner city to not succeed and wanting the suburbs to grow. And that's really what it comes down to. So I'm just making it very, very clear and breaking it down. But you go ahead there, Dominic.
No, Gil, I was going to say something. That that quarter of a penny going for general mobility. And when they got started, though, I was against general mobility, but when Metro started doing it, they did it right. In other words, Metro would only pay from the general mobility funds for the city of Houston and the other entities. They had to bring receipts for a project, and the board passed them or not. Now it's carte blanche. It's, there is no strings attached. It would have been one thing for general mobility to have a transit hook. In other words, you repay maybe the line has got a bus route. You repay something that's near rail, that people can get to rail or park and ride. No, and we got to get this car only mentality out of the way. The guy Jeff Rankdale, he says, if we expand the way we are to put all the cars in Houston where they're going to need to go in the future, there's going to be room for nothing else.
Well, that's right. You know what, Dominic? I'm going to have to cut you off only because we got another caller. But you know what? Try to call back in a little while.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. Thank you, Dominic. That Dominic, of course, #1 writer. He was really part of this group that really started coming up with this whole great plan of Metro and transit. Before we go to Lauren, is Lauren on the line? Lauren? Lauren, can you hear me? Lauren. All right, let's try to get her back. So we're going to try to get Lauren back. Before we do all that, I just got to one more time say thank you to Taqueria Laredo, right? Mm-hmm. Because they're always Laredo Taqueria. You know, you say Laredo Taqueria, I say Taqueria Laredo. Tomato.
There you go.
The whole thing there. Potato. Who couldn't spell potato, right? Dan Quayle.
Oh,
remember that?
Right.
He couldn't spell potato.
I remember that.
But sometimes I'm thinking, does it have an E or not? Anyways, let's go back. They always have the best carne asada, and they always every now and then will give me a couple. And people say, you always talk about that restaurant, and do they pay you to advertise? No, they don't pay me. The point is, it's not about their money.
Make good food.
It's their food that I love about. So any other restaurant that's out there that wants to send us something and see if we like it and we'll talk about it, go ahead. We'd love to have that. But let me keep going because did Lauren come back or no? She didn't come back. That's okay. We're going to talk about 2 elections because elections are coming up. Mr. Producer, if you could put that back on, because we have, of course, the city council elections. We had Dwight Boykins on the line last time. He's running against a very good opponent, and that's going to be it's Alejandra Salinas and Dwight Boykins. The first day of early voting is today. Did you know that, Ruby?
I had no clue.
Ruby, you got to get on a stick, lady.
I'm telling you.
And election day is December 13th.
Oh, right.
Can you believe we got another election?
I can't
Didn't we
believe
just
it.
have one?
I know.
I know that. But again, it's very important because this is for a term that is being, essentially filled out. And it's an at-large. The great thing about at-large council people is they can really pick their lane of what they want to do. Mm-hmm. They don't have to worry just about potholes in my district or a stop sign or I want a speed bump. They can really do whatever they want to do. And I remember Steve Costello did the whole food deserts, and others have their thing. Dwight Boykins for a long time was talking all about trash pickup when he was on council, even though he was not at-large at that time. Mm-hmm. He would always talk about trash pickup, we need a trash fee, etc. Well, he's in the runoff, and so I think he's working super duper hard. It's kind of a tough race for him because there's a lot of money on the other side, but at the end of the day, he's a good, hardworking guy. He's endorsed by the world. So then let me keep going. And then we have the district CD18 runoff with Amanda Edwards and Christian Menifee. Mm-hmm. And the first day of early voting is January 21st. Now, you may wonder, well, why is it different? Well, everyone wants to know that. At the end of the day, that whole cycle is different and strange. But you're filling a term that's kind of unknown because you don't know what's going to happen to that district, how it's going to be redrawn. We talked a lot about that before. Nobody knows, and I think that's probably by design, unfortunately, not by my choice, because my view is the people need to know. But go back to those dates for me, producer. It's going to be Kristen Minifree, our county attorney, and Amanda Edwards, ex-council person. And the first day of early voting is January 21st. And the election day is January 31st. Mm-hmm. And of course, that's to fill out a term which ends at the end of this year. Mm-hmm. And of course, the primary for a new term is going to be in March. And that election, if I'm not mistaken, is November for the 2-year term, which is the subsequent 2 years.
So complicated.
I can't even get that out of my mouth properly. But isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So make sure, Houston and Harris County, that you vote, because remember, first of all, my mom said if you don't vote, don't complain.
Right.
Of course, there's some other things. I know we have a Houston City College election. At the end of the day, we've got to vote. There are people that have given their lives and were struggled during the civil rights movement to get the right to vote, and here we are taking it for granted.
That's
and
right.
We cannot do that because these elections matter. Just look at the most recent in Washington. They did the big, beautiful bill. I hate saying that, but the big, beautiful bill on how they passed the budget. And of course, there was all these tax cuts for people that are making money and nothing for people that are struggling, all that kind of stuff. The same old, same old. But at the end of the day, it only passed by, I believe, 1 or 2 votes. And we didn't have a member of Congress from that district. Go figure. Wow. Isn't that unbelievable? That's a big wow. Charlotte, I saw you there. You said go vote. Thank you, Charlotte. We have Isidro Garza. Isidro, are you there? Hold on. Becky says early voting started today. Go vote. Vote. Becky Valdez Franco. Thank you, Ms. Franco. Isidro, are you there?
Good morning, Mayor. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, my friend. We're talking about Metro, but given that you're on the phone, let's talk about other things, because I know how close you are, you and Johnny Matas, for really all about the right things. Remember that movie, Do the Right Thing?
Yes.
Just do the right thing. And that's really what Isidro Garza and Johnny Mata always do, and they fight for it. So Isidro, what's on your mind today? Because you're going to talk to Houston Harris County, and clearly this concept of having no representation in Congress is terrible, and clearly the concept of redistricting in the middle of the process doesn't seem appropriate nor fair. And of course, the judges now have said so, and I don't even know where it's at. Do you want to update us, or what do you got for us today?
Well, actually, mine is a little bit, maybe 30,000 perspective, and that is that all we have to do.
I lost you. Go ahead. All we have to do is go ahead.
Somebody, your reception is picking up. Mayor, and so I'll just continue talking.
Please.
All we have to do is look what's happening in Mexico, and it's inverse of what it used to be. Mexico always used to look up. Mexican people used to look up to the United States, and they wanted to know. They looked at us with awe. But the things have really flipped. Mexico is going through one of the strongest economies in its history, and what is the difference in the concept? The concept is for the benefit of all, first the poor. That is just the opposite of what we do here in the United States. Look who is around our leaders in Washington, and so it is for the benefit of a few versus for the benefit of all. If you start with the poor. So what have they done? Remember back in Reconstruction, Roosevelt and the parks, etc. We during the Depression, what we did, we invested in infrastructure. We built parks, roads, that were not justifiable, canals, etc. That's the infrastructure. Why did we do that? Because we took public money and we spent it in building our infrastructure, and in so doing, the public monies created jobs. And it seems like if that might be inflationary, well, Mexico has gone over 138% raise in wages, and they're fixing to announce another increase this month. And so it's a concept that it's defying what the economists had been used to talking about and justifying. It is working. They're building bridges, they're building roads, they're building railroad trains, hospitals, schools, investing in their kids, investing in pension programs for the elderly, investing in those that are disabled. That's what government should be. Okay. And so, yes, I am disappointed at what's happening here, but I also have a lot of hope that what's happening in Mexico will rub off to us, because eventually we got to catch it. This thing is going so far. It's like a railroad train that we know it's gonna collide unless we do something different.
Well, hold on to that thought. I want to interject, if you don't mind, Isidro, because you're bringing up the basic economics, and I just want to make sure that our listeners really grasp it, for those that did not take economics in school. And that is, there's two ways to really do things to run a country, and that is, you can either raise taxes or you can cut taxes, right? You can either spend more government money or you can cut back on government money. And of course, when you spend more money than you have, then you have what's called a budget deficit. And that's what we've been running for many, many years. In fact, we haven't had a surplus since the Clinton years. And now the amount of budget deficit is about 32 trillion. When I went to college, I believe it crossed 2 trillion. That's when we crossed 2 trillion. So what does all that mean? You're making a great, wise thing, because there's a big difference between, if you cut taxes, like what we just did in the big, beautiful bill, all you're really doing is benefiting a certain amount of people, and they're the ones that do not really need the stimulus. In other words, if you're already a billionaire and your taxes are cut, you're not going to really spend any more money or less money, because the bottom line is you already have more money than you can spend. And that leads to the deficit. But if your deficit comes from the government doing infrastructure investments, that has an incredible multiplier effect, because that leads to, number one, direct investment will lead to a return on that investment in the future. Number two, it leads to jobs. Number three, it leads to probably better mobility and connectivity, which will only benefit a community. And there's all these benefits. So those people like me that are really focused on, it's better for the government to spend money wisely than just to cut taxes. And if you spend money wisely in infrastructure, roads, all those sorts of things, education, the amount of investment return will be fantastic. So go ahead, Isidro. I just wanted to give that. You can either cut taxes or you can spend more money, and they both lead to an increasing deficit. And which is better for the community? It's clear. The government making wise choices on spending money to make our lives better, and that starts with infrastructure investment and education. Go ahead there, Isidro.
Well, I'll pick up on a key word.
Go.
That wise investment. What's happening in Mexico is austerity in the republic, and how they build a republic, and how they invest into the infrastructure. So it has to be done in an intelligent manner, and we need that kind of mindset when you're spending money. It's not just spending money; it's spending money wisely, and you get your return. And then the other point that's in your business, Mayor, in your business. The gross national product is very important, and we usually judge countries based on their GDP. What good is a very good report card on your GDP if your people are living in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
In Mexico, they've reduced the poverty 13.5 million people that were in poverty are no longer.
Wow, that's
So
incredible.
It has to be
It's
a
incredible.
combination. It has to be a combination between the traditional report cards and what is really most important, the care for each other, care for the human being, the humanistic side of the formula that you can do both, and you can do both. And look at the Mexican peso. The way the Presidenta says it, Presidenta Claudia Sheinbaum Pardo, she makes it very, very simple. She says Mexico is a model. Mexico está en la es moda. In other words, it's popular.
Mm-hmm.
People are from all over the world are investing. The leader of Singapore is in Mexico today to meet with the president.
Wow.
So when you have those kind of the interest, everybody gains.
Well, that is.
Why can't we start doing some of that over here? Our leaders have to take a complete mindset, a new mindset. Forget that I got an election coming on in 2 years. No. What are we leaving behind? What are you doing once you get elected? How do you govern? Do you know how to govern? Are we stuck to the old ways, or are we open-minded? We are the greatest country in the world. Our workers are the greatest workers in the world.
Well,
So
I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something that's interesting. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had a professor who had a great impact on my life at Yale University. I went to Yale. His name was Serge Lang, and he was from Paris. And he was a very famous mathematician and got many math awards, et cetera. Very, very wonderful man. He wrote this textbook that was used all over many universities on calculus, et cetera. And we would get together, and we would always just noodle together. And he goes, I just can't understand what's wrong with Texas. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you have this proximity to this whole country there, Mexico, and yet very few people are bilingual, bicultural. He goes, look at us in Europe. He goes, we are, border each other, and that leads to better understanding. It leads to better alliances. It leads to better bicultural, everything. He goes, you have the greatest resource in this incredible culture that's even older than your own, and that's Mexico. Mm-hmm. And he goes, and yet y'all, kind of, I don't remember the word he uses, but essentially he's trying to say, poo-poo them. Mm-hmm. And so he was telling me that back in 1982. Wow. I'm sorry, 1986, 87. He was telling me about the difference between Europe and how they look at languages and cultures and countries, and here, the U.S. and Mexico. My goodness. Go ahead there, Isidro. I don't know if you have anything to say about that, but he was trying to educate me on, my goodness, take advantage of that proximity to Mexico.
Well, I'll just end by this. You started by complimenting Johnny Mata and his group. And yes, he does deserve that. But Mayor, you're an equal part. You're an equal part of that branch that you're always out there helping. And you don't do it so that you can get your picture in the newspaper. I know how much you invest in our communities, and it's not just the Hispanic community. It's whomever, the faith groups, etc., the student that needs a scholarship. I've seen you do that, and it takes good people to be able to take from your hard-earned money and just pass it on to somebody else, because maybe and that investment, that's why God continues to bless you and your family.
Thank you, studio audience, and thank you, Isidro. I'll owe you a call, and I know you've called me, and I apologize. I've had all kinds of family things. My son came in, my other son came in, my daughter came in, and they're all over now. My son's in New York. He's on Wall Street. My other son's a senior at LSU, and my baby is over there first year at U Chicago. And so, but I'll give you a call, and thank you for calling in, Isidro.
Okay, I need to talk to you today before the end of the day if you can.
You can. You got it. I promise. We have Mayor Anise Parker. Speaking of the mayor, that's my mayor.
That's right.
That's right. And running for county judge. That's going to be my county judge.
That's right.
Anise Parker. Are you there, Anise Parker?
I am.
Did you hear me say that's my mayor? and Ruby Dang's here with me, and we said that's our county judge. Anise Parker, tell me something. First of all, how was Thanksgiving at the Parker household?
Thanksgiving was wonderful. We had all 4 kids. We had 6 grandkids and 1 bonus kid, and we had everybody but one spouse who works on an oil rig.
Wow!
So we had 20 people around our dining table.
And was it just totally chaos?
That's beautiful.
Well, yeah. When you have 3 little boys who are 6, 7, and 8, it's always going to be chaos.
Oh my God! It's like, I don't know if you know that show Shrek, the movie Shrek. Well, there's a Christmas Shrek. And there's the character Donkey, that's Eddie Murphy, and he goes, Christmas is not Christmas till somebody cries. And that's how it is in the Garcia household, too. And we would always cry when we always fought about, I don't know why, Mayor, and you, of course, you know my lovely wife, and of course, I love you, Dee Dee, if you're listening. Every time we put up the tree, it led to a fight. I don't know why, but it always led to a fight about nothing. Well, I'm so glad you had a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. And let me ask you this, Mayor. So how are things going to the campaign trail? And I know that you're kind of out of respect for everybody else, you're sort of taking a step and letting all these other elections sort of be in the front line. But at the end of the day, how's it going right now, getting ready for what will be, of course, a very interesting, exciting election in March for you on the runoff? I mean, not the runoff, the primary.
It's going really, really well, and you're correct. I want people to pay attention to that city council race that's going on. I want people to pay attention to the CD18 race and all of the shenanigans that are going on around trying to keep that seat from being filled so they don't have representation. So the Republicans can hold on to their slight majority in Washington. It's crazy, but my campaign is going really well. It's sort of, as we get into the holiday season, it'll be a little bit quiet, and then come the first week of January, we're going to hit it hard because the March primary. But I was actually listening to the show, and I wanted to call in and talk about Metro a little bit.
Let's do it.
I'm so glad that you fill people in on how it works and the importance of investing in infrastructure and investing in transit. I mean, you know that I feel like you were one of the best appointments I made because you transformed Metro when you were the chairman over there, and the city's 5 appointees were all really sharp people who brought skills and turned the agency around.
Well, it was a brilliant move, not the part about me, but the 5 people you put on, the different backgrounds. Whether it was Dwight Jefferson, he was supposed to be my guest today. I'm not sure what happened, but we'll have to do this show again, and we'll have him. But his whole skill as a negotiator and a lawyer, et cetera, mediator. And then, of course, we had the amazing Christoph Spieler and what he knew. I mean, the guy knows everything about transit. And that's, you don't have a lot of people appointed to the Metro board that really ride Metro and know Metro even more than the staff.
Well, he got married on the turn.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And then, of course, you had Alan Watson, who was an engineer and really cared a lot about just in general procurement and so forth. And then we had, of course, our new ambassador, or was ambassador, Karen Patman, who really, in my view, when she took over as chair, really took it to the next level on the referendum to keep money with Metro. So I congratulate you.
Spent a lot of time in D.C. as an advocate for Metro. Every one of you had your own particular skill set and was all about Metro, not about making money off of it, or not about, I like this on my resume.
That's right. I so appreciate the opportunity of a lifetime. And now I feel like I know a lot about transit because, you just learn by osmosis somehow. Yeah. But Mayor, I'm going to have another episode of Metro because I think people need to know that, Metro is meant for transit. And I'm disappointed that a lot of the money that was meant to be for transit, all the hard work that we did on our referendum, and all the hard work that Chair Patman did on her referendum to keep money with Metro, a lot of that money is now being used for road repair and things that essentially are going into one side of Houston so Houston can spend money on another side. And of course, Houston has many needs, and we love Houston. But my goodness, we're going to get further behind on transit. So that's kind of my 2 cents there, Mayor. And I'm not trying to get you in any controversy there, but at the end of the day, what I really was hoping you to opine on is because I in Houston, Harris County, I am all Parker all the time. So I want to just I want to disclose that. But Mayor, and soon to be county judge. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I always do. So, Anise Parker, what do you think? When you look at the county, what are the 3 things that I don't know what to say if you would do differently because I don't want to frame it that way. But what are the 3 highest priorities?
I can tell you what the highest priorities are.
There
people
you go.
who live in the county. Number 1 is the economy. They just want to be able to make a living and put food on the table and be able to pay for a decent apartment or house. And a lot of voters are feeling squeezed out of the economy. Then they want to be safe in their home and safe. Yes, it's about like public safety. It's about crime and so forth. But it's really, for most residents, they want to not have water in their home. They want to not be afraid of flooding. And then finally, and it's not a direct thing for the county judge, but they want this to be a place to raise their kids and have good schools and a good future for them. So it's about the economy today and the economy of tomorrow, and then being safe in their homes while they get there.
Mayor, it's just when you say the words, I can't help but to think, my goodness, we're so basic on some of the things that we're saying things like, I just hope I don't get water in my home. My goodness.
Yes.
Can you? I mean, and I have many friends, my brother, others.
Well, and you got water in your home.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Not too much though. We frankly were pretty lucky on my home on not the one I live now, but the 3526. But so many people that I know of, they were out of their home for a long time. I mean, just a long periods of time. We just got to find a way to do better, Mayor. Well, I want to make
your own brother was out of his home for months.
Yes, yes, and he had I don't remember about 3 or 4 feet of water in his house for a long time. And when you have standing water in your home, it's not like pretty. It gets like just all kinds of contaminants and stuff, stuff, goop. I don't even know what it is, but it's not like it's pool water in my house. Not at all. It was awful. Awful.
Well, and it's not easy. Let's be clear. It's not easy to prevent flooding. We built our great city in a low-lying area. All the water flows through Houston that falls on Central Texas, and it flows down to the Gulf. And it's not a swamp, but it is the prairie. And the soil doesn't absorb water very well, and we have all of these little rivers that run through Houston. We happen to call them bayous, but they're little rivers. And this area flooded regularly when there were no human beings here, and then we have decided to put concrete all over the place and build things, and we've made it worse, and now we have to figure out how to move water more efficiently. And I am really focused on the fact that there are billions of dollars of projects over at the county, and there was a bond election to help pay for some of those projects, and they're falling behind. And we just cannot afford to let any flood control projects fall behind.
My goodness, to hear that, I don't know if I want to cry or I want to scream. Because at the end of the day, the voters said, please, fix our flooding, and we're going to give you the ability to do so. Let's get it going, Mayor. My goodness.
One of the saddest things is that people keep saying, well, prevent the next Harvey. And I'm going to say that there's nobody on earth who can prevent the next Harvey, the worst rain event in American history. But we ought to be able to prevent water from people's houses in a 100-year storm. And we can really, really try to prevent water in people's houses in a 500-year storm. but hopefully Harvey was a once in a lifetime event and will never come back, because you just can't prevent flooding in that amount of rain. And as the climate changes, we get these really hard sort of microbursts with a lot of water falling in a really small area. Also very hard to deal with. But in general, we have to do a better job. The county has plans, it has projects, it just has to execute. And part of that is creating a cadence of accountability. I think there's good people in flood control. They just the projects have to be accelerated, and the county commissioners have to regularly get updates. And so, they can hold the people over there accountable. And I think there's a little bit of, sort of out of sight, out of mind, and we're not going to have that anymore.
Well, there you go. That's why we need you there. I'm going to give you the last word here. Tell me, where's the website, and how can people either donate, or how can people volunteer, and all that? Give us the whole thing there, Mayor.
The website's very straightforward. It's just AniseParker.com, ANNISEPARKER.com. You can volunteer there, you can donate there, you can do whatever you want to do. If you shoot me questions, campaign@AniseParker.com. I'll do my best to answer any questions or concerns folks have. And in fact, I will even give my cell phone number, which I do on a regular. I have been given the same cell phone number out. I've had it for 25 years.
Go for it.
So 832-642-2589. Now, if you're not in my contact list, you go to voicemail. And if you don't leave a string of 4-letter words, I'll call you back.
Well, Mayor, when you were saying your website, you were going I don't know why it came to me. Like the MICKEYMOUSE. I was saying ANNISEPARKER. I don't know why. It just came to my head.
Helpful. Thank you.
Mayor Parker, please call in again. And Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and everything to you and your family.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thank you. What a great public servant.
Right?
That is a public servant.
Yes, that's right.
She could have gone and served on all kinds of corporate boards and made a lot of money, but no, what she's always done is dedicated her life to public service.
That's what we need, more folks
right.
like that.
Am I right?
Exactly.
We have another caller. Is there a Mark there? Mark.
Hey there, Gilbert.
Mark.
Hey, Gilbert, good morning. How you doing? You doing all right this morning?
I am. You got me, Gilbert Garcia, with a tip from me with my sidekick. And I don't mean Ed McMahon. I mean Ruby Dang. We had a guest on, and he didn't make it today. I'm sure it was flooding or something. But we're going to bring back Metro because I didn't get a chance to talk all about it. But what did you got for us? Of course, we had Mayor Parker and others.
Well, I tell you what, since your guest didn't make it in, I'm going to leave my number with your sidekick. And I want you just call me when you need somebody to come in and fill in somebody's spot. That's a tip from Mark. Hey, I hear y'all talking. I hear you talking about the budget, and that's what prompted me to call.
Go.
Deal with this man that's running the White House right now. This convicted felon, this 34 convicted felon.
Yep.
Who's tearing the walls up in the White House. Costing money, trying to get a plane. So when he leaves, he wants his own plane.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? This man ain't worried about he's worried about a deficit when he leaves. He worried about making all kind of money. So he's a convicted felon. He's doing what the convicted felons would do.
Well,
so we can't be surprised.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Mexico to build that wall and pay for it. Remember he said that? I don't remember how long ago that, but I'm still waiting for that. Go for it, Mark.
Yeah, he sold that to the people. He sold it because I'm gonna be honest with you. He sold it to me the way he said it. I'm telling the truth.
Mm-hmm.
He sold that to me, and then when he got in there, he turned around, and I ain't gonna say what he did, but we all know what he did. He told so many lies. He took so many things and made so much money and did. Oh man, it's just a mess, man. So at the end of the day, I don't know what this man's gonna do, man. This man been impeached several times. The Republican Party's allowing him to do what he's doing. They know he ain't right. I wonder what he got against these people, man. I wonder what he got, because he got to have something, man.
I mean, it's so amazing. And I was reading over the weekend all the stuff about this. It came out the information about how they had blown up one of those boats, and it wasn't completely destroyed, and there were survivors there in the water. I think they were floating on some of the debris. And then I guess the Secretary of Defense said, kill them all. And then they shot him again. And I guess they killed those poor folks. And ultimately, now the president says something like he wouldn't have done that second shot. So I don't know if that means they're going to throw that Secretary of Defense under the bus or not. But I mean, you just can't make up some of this stuff.
But you telling me that what you just said, that the president, the convicted felon, said he wouldn't have fired that second shot. That's what you're saying?
That's correct. That's what the media reported that he said. Yes.
Okay. Let me tell you something. Anything come out that felon's mouth, don't you believe that? Because we know that's a bold. He covering everything. He's covering everything up. He's saying that. But you know good and well, what about the other 2 or 3 that he blew up then?
Yep.
With nothing. You see what I'm saying? What about the other 2?
Well,
you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Well, according to the media, they are now going to be doing some hearings, and I think it's bipartisan, Republicans and Democrats, to start looking at these activities, these blowing up these ships or these boats, et cetera. What's the evidence about? Are they really bringing in drugs, et cetera? Good. So it'll be very interesting to see about these hearings and what happens. So, Mark, I'm with you. I totally understand.
I'm gonna end on this. If they doing an investigation right now on Trump, they just need to come together and go in on and impeach him right now and get him on out of there. Just get him out. Just need to go in and impeach him.
Like Christmas miracle.
Well,
that's what they need to do.
Yeah. Well, you just heard it here from a tip from Mark.
There we go.
And so I got to come up with talk, inspiration, prayer. I got for another phrase for tip from Mark.
Yeah.
But truth is power. Maybe that's it. Truth is power from Mark. Tip from Mark. Mark, thank you for calling in, my friend. And you call in all the time.
Yeah, y'all have a good one. Thank you.
You too, my friend. We have another caller in, but before we do that, I just want to make sure everyone knows that I had a guest that was very schooled about Metro, and he didn't make it. We'll figure out why. Ultimately, I'm going to redo it again because it's very important that people understand, Ruby, when I hear people say, oh, well, how come we don't have rail here? They need to know why. These were strategic moves by people, and we know they're still out there, haters. Bill King's always writing stuff. I don't know why they always print it about anti-Metro stuff. And you know what I want to say? Well, what's your solution? Traffic is paralyzing the Galleria and 610. The 59 is paralyzed. Katy Freeway is paralyzed. So I want to know, instead of saying, let's do it right, let's do, it's about, wait a minute, they're just throwing stones. And that's not helpful, and that's not real leadership. At the end of the day, I don't think we could pull off. The medical center would not be as successful as it is. Downtown wouldn't without Metro. We would not be able to pull off a World Series, some of these football games, some of these great events, Taylor Swift concert, the NCAA thing, these big bellwether events. And now we're going to have the World Cup, which they say something crazy like almost 500,000 or 1 million people are going to be descending to Houston for the World Cup. Well, how are they going to get around if you don't have any mass transit? Come on, let's do better than that, Houston. And when we get these haters on there, ask them questions. And when I hear people throw a lot of stones at that whole bus rapid transit, and they say Metro did not build that. That was the Uptown Tours.
Yep.
And we would have done it differently. We would have made it signal priority, which means it needs to be fast. They didn't want to do that. Why? Because they didn't want it to be successful.
Right.
At the end of the day, you need to have it to where you can go through the lights. That's what makes transit, what's the right word? Interesting or desirous for people to use it because it's fast and it's reliable. And if you make it unreliable and if you make it slow, well, people aren't going to ride it. We already know that from transit studies that have been done throughout time and all over the world. We have another caller. Was it a Bobby? Bobby, are you there?
Yeah, Gilbert, can you hear me?
I got you, Bobby. You got me on a tip from Gilbert. What?
Gilbert, the only reason I call because I feel like we throw around, we code, we say government. Government is the people, Gilbert. So we know if we be realistically, we ain't trying to spiritualize it, but guess what? The pole is always with you. Don't nobody care about the collateral damage of the pole. But then another way you want to say infrastructure. Who you think Gilbert who you think gonna go out to Cyprus, Gilbert, and cut those trees down? Hands. You gotta have hands.
That's right.
The hands of the people, and they call it government. So the thing is, the problem is, Gilbert, you put all the money in the cookie jar, and then we say, who took the cookie out of the cookie jar?
Yeah,
it wasn't me.
Yeah, you know that.
Hey, Gilbert, but the
Don't
answer is then you and us.
Don't leave me, Bobby. Don't leave me.
And you always say, can I get a prayer?
Can you?
Say, God bless America.
But don't leave me yet, Bobby, because something came to my mind. I can't help it when you said, "Who put the cookie jar?" Remember that? Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? Who? You? Not me. Then who? Number 3. That's a campfire song. Maybe you weren't campfire girls. That's one of those campfire girl songs. Who stole the cookie from the cookie jar? You know what, Bobby? You said something that's so simple, but yet it's so profound, which is the government is the people.
Hello.
Houston and Harris County, the government is you. And if you don't like it, change it. And how can you do that? Go vote today. Go vote early and go vote. And there are good candidates. A lot of them you may agree, someone you may not agree, but at the end of the day, you got to give them credit because they're going out there and they're putting themselves on the line. Go vote. Hannah Cisneros, I see you voted earlier. Thank you very much. So, Bobby, I didn't mean to cut you off. You got about another minute or two. What else do you want to say to Houston, Harris County, me, or Ruby Dang?
I just want to say thank you, Gilbert, for your bravery, for your platform, but you got a tar on your back. Watch your back. Okay, I'll get back with you, Gilbert.
I appreciate that. Thank you, my friend. You know what? And I understand that. And you know what? It's unfortunate, but I do get that.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's what leadership does. And if you're driven by do the right thing, and you follow, the Lord's sort of code of life, it all works out. You got to have no fear. But I do understand having a target on my back. I feel like I've had one all my life on my back. But let's go back. There were a couple of things that people tweeted in. Another one was, I think it was Jesse. He said, go vote. What did he say? Let's see. What did Jesse say? Something about wherever he voted. I don't know where he went. Well, maybe we can't find Jesse. At the end of the day, I thought he said he voted at the Multi-Service Center or something like that. Oh, there we go. Early voted Denver Harvey Multi-Service Center on Market Street and Ripley House on Navigation. Thank you, Jumping Jess. And I know that you're supporting Dwight Boykins. I could see that in your thing. Dwight's a good man, of course. So, you know what? It's one of those things, Ruby, where we didn't have a guest, but nevertheless, did that just rhyme?
I did.
Yeah, I didn't mean to do that, but it did. Nevertheless, we're out of time.
Oh, no.
Did I just rhyme?
Yeah.
We're out of time.
I just wanted to quickly say, let's not forget, it's the 70th anniversary of Rosa Parks when she stood up to make a difference. So go vote for her today.
Yeah, and can you imagine the courage that took?
Exactly.
Not just
Let's
because
not forget.
she was a senior citizen and an African American, or she was younger then, of course. But back then, in those times,
Right.
What courage! Talk about a target on your back.
There you go.
So that's why, you know what? You may have a target on your back, but you're doing the right thing. You got to do it. So let me just say once again. Taqueria, Laredo, Taqueria. I say potato, you say potato, tomato, you know what I'm saying. They have great food. We're on TV on Saturdays now. I'll do all those stations for you later on. They're all there. I'll do it on my late thing here in just a second. So Houston, Harris County, always call into this show. This is your show. I want you to say whatever the heck you want to say. And it's 832-570-8075. This is Gilbert Garcia with a tip for me saying, we'll see you next time.
All right, Houston, Harris County, this is Gilbert Garcia of A Tip from Gilbert, Talk, Inspiration, and Prayer. We're going to now be on television. We will air every Saturday on Comcast 17, AT&T Channel 99, Phonoscope Channel 96, Suddenlink 99, and also HMSTV.org. Every new episode every Saturday at 7 p.m. And follow me on social media. See you then.